Hello and welcome to another episode of the Wavemakers Podcast, where we focus on the stories of the people championing the transition in maritime, decarbonization and digital transformation. My guest today spent many years at KPMG and then embarked on her own entrepreneurial journey, moved from Paris to Hong Kong, successfully exited that startup, and then she joined shipping to orchestrate innovation, open innovation for CMA-CGM as part of ZBox. And now maybe you know who I'm talking about already. And she says that was the moment when she fell in love with shipping. So she stayed around, luckily for us. Please help me welcome Amel Rigneau.
Hi, thank you for having me here.
Thanks so much. In your own words, how would you describe yourself?
So I'm Amel Rigneau, and most of my career, I will try to do one thing, is to translate complexity into one single thing, how organization can act on it. And this is very important. So I'm really at the intersection of people, technology, and also business. So along my journey, I set up startups. I have been part of many businesses. I invest in them. I'm helping large corporates to frame their innovation. I'm also helping university or government to push, to educate around innovation.
Mm-hmm. And how did the transition to shipping come about?
So, as you know, I'm not coming from shipping side, so I didn't grow up around ships, port, and so on. My parents are not at all in this field. Mm-hmm. But to be honest, I touched down many type of sectors, manufacturing, retail, telecom, during my day in strategy and innovation. So shipping was one more. But what was really different with shipping is, first, thanks to my days as an entrepreneur, shipping has no tolerance with any vision, statement, and so on. They are really pragmatic and focus on operation. And this is very enjoyable, because what I believe and profoundly believe is that innovation is all about make it happening, and not just on paper or planning or strategize. It's very around operation, where shipping is related to operation because it's global, really high stake. And bottom line, you need to take one box to point A and to point B. And it seems really simple, but in fact is very complex. And you need to handle different type of constraints, the weather, behaviors, the operation, the unknown sometimes, incidents all over at any step of the process. Yeah. And this is why I really fell in love with shipping and logistics in general. Mm-hmm. Even we know that maritime and shipping is 80%, 90% of the transportation of goods. Things like that. So it's quite huge, and the impact is so important. If you stop shipping, no medicine, no food, no goods, no energy, nothing. And so you are in the middle of economical, political environment without knowing it. And you're part of it. You're part of how the world is working. And without it, everything will stop. Mm-hmm. Yes. So it's by accident, but it's really an opportunity and a chance for me.
It's true. You can plan for something, but actually it's all these side factors that will determine the rate of success or whether the priorities stay the same. It is. Yes. I was surprised how much it was connected to energy and geopolitics. I mean, it's logical now, but somehow when I experienced it, I was very surprised. And how was it when you kind of exited your business and had your own entrepreneurial experience, and then you were appointed to orchestrate innovation for others?
Excellent question, because I think I was hired because I have the double experience, which was an entrepreneurship, so very down to the ground, operational, wearing different type of hats, but also I was coming from consulting part, where I help many large corporates to initiate innovation, to know what is innovation, and we can come back on this one because I give some thought around it. How to frame innovation, how to enter, and how to scale it as a startups. Because you have to begin very carefully, step by step, and educate the company, the organization, and so on. And along the way, what I notice is that a startups is a failure, or a collaboration between corporate could be a failure, not because of the technology, not at all. It's because of the ecosystem. Sometimes the ecosystem is misaligned or incomplete, and for different reasons, very different reasons. First one could be the startups is not tackling the real pain, the real problem. And this is the reason why the first thing that I did is to frame correctly the challenge, to link it with the stakeholders, to bring all the stakeholders here, and to identify. And for that, the corporate has to open his book, to open its operation, and to be willing to change at some point. The second point, which is very important, and I had to learn it, to be fully transparent, I made some mistakes, it's to prepare the pilot so it will scale. So to have a structured pathway to the scale. And what that means exactly, it's more than to have already a good framework, problem statement, framework, all the stakeholders around the table, is to align with procurement. It's to align, to set up a roadmap, a frame, a sort of milestones, very, very important, and to link it with the P&L. So this is very, very important. To the innovation has to be creative, and to create value. The third point for startups is, to have a real customer, and this is what we try to do. It's better than hundreds of speech, presentation, and so on. And startups must look for in real condition clients, and to make some effort to have those kind of experience. And perhaps the last one will be on capital. And this is tricky. This is very tricky because you have to, at some point, educate the investors. Because the industry, maritime or even energy, it's capital intensive, sometimes low margin. There is a lot of regulations that you have to apply. So it's a long-term game. So smart investors are the ones that are coming and understand the industry, because maritime or energy is very particular. And if the investor is looking for multiplies like SaaS software, it will not happen at all. So it's very important that you have this type of ecosystem. So a corporate who is not a client but a partner, an investor who is patient and understand the ecosystem and the industry. And after, of course, a builder, an ecosystem builder as myself, as my company, to build the trust and to build all the favorable conditions so this could could be happening. And believe me, there are thousands of reasons why it could fail.
Yes.
But at least we have some tips, we have a framework that we can design to make it happen.
It is really an art to be able to open up all these people that you work with and to create this collaborative ground and to align. And this word is so important because it really is about alignment, but it's really difficult to detach from, what you or me or one thinks is the key to actually really listen to all these different departments. And initially, I remember when I joined Maersk, I was trying to, become an expert in all these different topics that I was handling in my portfolio, to soon realize, no, this is not the way how you can do it. And the art is actually understanding the systems, the processes, how things work together. And procurement and P&L is such an important part of it, even if you're dealing with early stage innovation, because you or someone else will be the one at some point when it's mature pitching to a certain team and asking for investments for that. Because, you're pitching to investors typically as a startup, that's something that you're used to, but you're actually pitching this business to other business units who are just looking, okay, can I get an ROI here?
And this is the reason why at some point you need to have a buy-in. There are many barriers for that because people are afraid. They are not willing to change. Sometimes because they saw some other project fail. Why? Because potentially the cost is very high. Even the idea could be good, but the implementation, the cost of implementation is high in terms of money or perhaps time. Perhaps it's not the right project. So sometimes when you witness failure, you say, okay, not me. And also sometimes it's the organization itself. You think that innovation or digitalization will disturb all the process and you will not be able to cope with. So at some point you lack of some skills to adopt it. Sometimes it's because of the leadership. The leadership don't believe enough in innovation. So they don't push, they don't communicate, they don't put KPIs or incentives to develop innovation. So there are a lot of reasons, and we need to identify them in general and to understand the culture of the company so you can diffuse the company and after the stakeholders. Because innovation is all about people. It's how to solve a problem with creativity, a real problem with creativity, but people are doing it. So if you, as you were saying, not taking the time to build the trust, to onboard them, it will be a failure. Because at the end, innovation is not tech. It's not a flashy technology and so on, a huge breakthrough and so on. It's how the organization and the people will adopt it and implement it. And this is the most important thing. So you have to step down to do it sometimes step by step, to build trust, which is not easy. So a lot of communication, a lot of dialogue with people and stakeholders, the leadership, but also the crew, or the port, the dockers, and so on. And I did that. So it's very important to make it understandable by people. What will be the impact and what will be the impact for them, for their life. not in general for the company and so on. No, for their life. And to take their hand so you will show them the path to go, which is requiring time. And sometimes leadership, they are not, they are impatient and they want to see success. And this is the reason why sometimes I'm framing innovation in a very small scope. So to have quick wins, small one, very small, achievable, but at least it's short. So you can build on that. And this is how the people will trust you. Because if you are doing, as I was saying, Maritime has no patience for anything. They have to bring a box from point A to point B. And we need to transform innovation as an ambition to innovation as execution. And this is, I think, what Maritime is asking or request or even demand.
Yes, they don't cope with just anything. Marketing campaigns and flashy things don't fly. It is so important that innovation has an approval from the leadership, and that there is a clear path of reporting and processes, how it's integrated inside the company. But that goes back to the leadership, right? Is it a part of the culture and how things are done, or is it existing for the sake of marketing and PR and being, just another silo? That's something maybe that startups probably don't pay enough attention to. But at the beginning, really understanding, okay, but what happens when this is successful? Like, who then takes this to the next stage? And to understand how these steps are incorporated, to know already whether it's worth the time or not. And it's also a different nature of startups, needing quick wins, needing quickly clients, because their lifespan is, it can be short. So you have to also move fast and iterate and get feedback and so on, in addition to runways. But at the same time, as you said, it takes time to create that fertile ground within a large organization and to change people's mind, to understand whether they're maybe not adopting something because they have a bad experience, or if they have a fear, or it can be something totally different. Why would they take a technology and have one person less in the team, right? Sometimes it's the size of their team that they pride themselves in. And if half of that can be cut with innovation, well, there will be friction.
This is the reason why it's important for the organization to create the framework that will welcome this innovation and this change. And doing that, as I was saying, is to lead the way and to explain what you will do and what will be the impact. So this is within the organization. It's important to educate people, and if the leadership is not on board, it will be only communication and marketing, definitely, or some R&D in the lab without any link with the P&L of the company. Hint for startups, it's as I was saying first, is to point out the real problems, real pain, not theoretical or that you build in your mind, and to have a real client, and to request from the corporate a plan, a very specific and structured framework from the pilot to the scale. And you will see if it's serious or not, and how much effort you can pour in it, or is just because sometimes to have a logo or a small POC can help, to be honest, can help the startups to understand, to position itself, to pivot, because you will see that is not the right problem or the right answers to the problem, and this can help. And you have also the external. all the ecosystem around you. The governments has responsibility to create an ecosystem where they can develop, when innovation can be developed, because innovation is costly. Yeah. It needs coalitions, sandboxes, safe area where you can play, and also to have mindset. I don't know if it's from the organization or the culture of the country or the education and so on. It's don't be afraid to fail. And this is very important, because if you don't have this education, perfection will not lead to innovation. It's really the progress, the iteration, but you have to be a quick learner. This is very important. So every failure, every mistake that you are doing, learn from it. Don't be afraid. Don't be ashamed. I'm doing so many mistakes all the time, and I'm not feeling ashamed at all. And I'm not feeling ashamed that I don't know. There are some areas where I think I know something, but most of the time I'm learning, and I'm in perpetual learning. And this is how organization can solve the problem of innovation, is communication. Don't be afraid of failure. Try to learn and do it step by step. Otherwise, you will burn the startups, you will burn the mindset, and it will not be helpful.
We mentioned this word so many times, innovation, right? And we discussed yesterday a little bit that. So how do you define it? What is innovation?
So I thought a lot about it. So basically, what I think innovation is a sort of catalyst. Is a sort of a catalyst that you are creating all the condition, the environment, to develop creativity or test to solve a pain that you have. And it could be very small, like we were saying yesterday, just a small change of operation. It could be huge, like deep tech or breakthrough innovation and so on. It depends on the moment, the stakeholders, where they are, the mindset, the maturity of the organization. But this is innovation. Everything could be an innovation. It doesn't have to be huge with a large impact and so on. It just has to solve a problem that at the end people has.
Yeah. Very nice. Yes. Yes. I went back to alignment, right? Like being able, if you're the one orchestrating it, connecting everyone, right? Being able to understand whether the stakeholders, let's say in the organization, see as innovation small steps, or finding the right departments that are ready to, be there and collaborate together. And maybe their need is only small, but if you can build a lot of quick wins, then maybe that unlocks the right thing for some other departments that are maybe in their thoughts maybe more radical, and vice versa. And also back to startups, being able to find the right ones, because it's not always, okay, let's bring in the next one that's popular, but it's actually that match. And it's match in the need, in the timing, because the startup also maybe has a requirement. Okay, I see that in 6 months I need to deploy this, or answer a question for myself about this technology in a way ABC, to be able to unlock the next level of growth for me. And then these things really need to match. And that match, I think, is the secret sauce to progress, as opposed to, startup wanting one thing, but the corporate moves slow, then everyone is frustrated. The corporate doesn't see clear win out of this time that they're spending. The startup doesn't on their end. And yeah, sometimes it's not about being super radical.
I fully align with what you are saying. And this is the reason why I don't have a fixed framework.
Mm-hmm.
When I jumped to this big shipping company, I didn't know what to do at the first time. And I had to learn what is the mindset. What is the mindset, the culture of this company, the mindset, the ecosystem that I have here in Asia, inside of the company, and after to understand the positioning of this company around the global ecosystem. I mean, in the country or in APAC, because I was leading all the APAC, in APAC. So to understand its strength and sometimes its weakness. So internally, but also externally, in the geopolitics, because maritime is has geopolitical impacts, and on innovation, and on maritime.
Mm-hmm.
And here you can design sort of framework where some framework will work and some will not. So for example, I have not the same framework for Singapore than I will have if I was launching Australia. It will be different because the ecosystem is different of innovation. The positioning of this company was different, and so on. So and all the stakeholders around it will be different. And so this is the external. And internally, you don't have a secret sauce. You listen and you diffuse. Small diffuse can bring to a success. You are trying to be agile, to adapt. If something is not working, you try to find another way, or to talk to another people, or to let go and fail fast and say, okay, one time I was about to finish a pilot because the business unit was not helping the startups, and I told them, so let's pay them and stop the pilot. It doesn't worth to lose time for them because they don't care about the pilot. They want the scale, the deployment. So I say either your commercial, your sales will be here to give feedback and to use the tool, otherwise we will stop it. And the person was really astonished because she said, but come on, you are on innovation, you are pushing the startups and so on, and now you are telling me that I have to stop. But at some point, and you know, it's every time is different because innovation is about people, how people will accept it. And from one people to another, the mindset, the fears, the personality is really different. So it's not a sort of secret sauce, it's just to listen and to try to find tricks. Okay, you have the large frameworks and so on, but everyone, you are taking ChatGPT or whatever, and you will have the framework. But how you implement it, how you play with it, is here the key thing, and you cannot duplicate.
Yeah, I agree so much. Also, I believe that certain type of innovation is, and the frameworks are fit to a certain time. So if something worked 3-5 years ago and you try to repeat the same thing, the environment changed, the ecosystem changed, the people changed, so it's not gonna work. It's not the same. And you reminded me of one such an important thing, killing projects. I remember we had a hard time killing things in the portfolio, and it's kind of everyone involved in decision making was like, okay, we'll need to kill project, but then people actually become attached to them, right? They develop personal relationship with someone that they're interacting with in their growth, so they don't want to kill it, although you know that from the organizational perspective it's too much time and we're not moving where we should, or maybe as fast, and it's okay, just give clear feedback, they'll come back or communicate this. But yeah, people really, hold on to it.
Yeah, it's human.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
looking around and we come back to people.
Yes.
It's all the time. And it's really the intersection between people, tech, of course, and business. So if you link the three facets of this challenge, you could solve it.
Going back to you, has this industry changed you somehow?
I love complexity, and I love to build on it. And Maritime is giving me that. It's at some point very operational, so it's tangible. So to make innovation tangible is very, very important for me, because I'm more down to earth. And when I'm in consulting, it's less. You have to build strategies, framework, planning, convincing presentation, and so on. So I have done a lot. And on Maritime, at some point you need that to because it's large. Sometimes it's large corporates and so on. But at the same time, you have this operation. You have to deal with the uncertainties, with the current, with the weather, with the crew, with the operation, with the breakdown of anything, and so on. So it's very, very tangible. And this is what I really think that is fascinating. And moreover is the high stake. It's like you are in the middle of what's happening all over the world. And this sensation, it's unbelievable. To see, I'm part of something. So if I'm decarbonize or digitalize the industry or the sector, you will have an impact, a positive impact on the performance and also on the planet.
Yeah.
So yes, it has been a big change.
Yeah, the scale of it also, when you prove it on one vessel, then it can quickly just scale. And especially if you're working with some of the large names in the industry, they set the trend for the rest. Yeah. We were doing the same project on two different vessels with two different crews. And one was super enthusiastic, and the other one was fearful about it, so they did not try to help out as much. And that also made such a difference between what worked or not. Or like when we rolled out an application form, like who wants to be involved in this project, we had hundreds of signups within hours. And we were just so surprised that, wow, all these people actually internally want to be a part of this and want to help, but maybe they didn't had an opportunity to say, okay, I want to be a part of this.
You're right. Maritime is very traditional, paper process oriented, but when you are talking to captains, to the crew, to the dockers, to even at the headquarters, the people are willing to not innovate, but to solve their problems.
Yeah.
Not to innovate. Okay, yeah, it's funny. You have a lot of flashy words and so on. But basically, what they want is to solve their problem and to have fun at the same time. And it's true. That is nice to work with the startups, creative people, sometimes young, sometimes very experimented, so they bring more knowledge and so on. So you open your chakra. You are opening your chakra all the time when you are working on innovation, because you think differently because of diversity as well. So, and this point is very important. Collaboration is one point, but also diversity. When you have the same people, the same nationality, the same gender, the same experience, the same ecosystem and so on, you are not creative, because you could not see what will be the problem for others. So to bring another angle is very important. And sometimes this is why, as you were saying, people are so excited, because they will experimenting another thing, you know, another angle, another way of thinking.
This also now reminds me of the startup journey that I'm on, but at the beginning we were coming with the hat of a large company, and also some of the employees in the company likewise. And there, you know, the process is simple. You decide what you want as a company, and you can predict many things about your path. And actually that's very different than like being in the market and interacting with wider shipping, because there are also so many small companies. There are also so many members of the shipping ecosystem. You don't know how they would react. And in our case, we were building a software for the regulation, so we were also building before the regulation even started. So there was no way to even predict how the ecosystem would behave. We went on this journey of really understanding and being surprised like by the industry once we removed that, you know, Maersk hat. Like I was like, wow, I don't even know shipping. Like it's totally different game. But yeah, you only get to know that when you actually, you know, go there hands in and try to, as much as you can, because it's very difficult, but remove the bias and look at things from a fresh eye.
Definitely. It's the good path to the success, because you can notice that there are a lot of gaps that sometimes you are aware of and sometimes you are not. And by diversity, you can understand the gaps, and so you can work on it. And by building or by bridging all the dots, you can create systems. And this is what I think Maritime is needing right now. It's not another vision, it's not another so on. It's more how to redesign different type of system, because you will not solve it by one regulation, one system, one technology, one organization, and so on. You need to build this collaboration within the system and rethink how you finance a new fuel, how you operate a ship, how you build new technology or new system, and so on. But, you know, bottom line, I think I'm optimistic, because it's not easy, but as it's inevitable, we have to do it. So at some point, Maritime will find the way.
Last, maybe quick one, since I see that we are running out of time, but I do the mic switch. So also you get the opportunity to ask any questions if you'd like.
What was the most funniest or astonished anecdote that you had from your guests?
I liked some of them who grew up on vessels, and they were sharing their stories. One of them, Maria, actually, she was growing up as her family was on the ship, so she was so excited to go to new places and say, oh, we're going to this island, and then she would imagine how that would look like, and then they would arrive, and she would be like, but there's nothing here. So I really enjoy listening to these stories. One question that I ask everyone: if you were a ship, which ship would you be and why?
So definitely I will be hybrid, because we're on decarbonization. Efficient, because this is very near to my heart, to be efficient, so need it. Agile, of course. Not the biggest. I always like small ecosystems, small, but definitely fast.
Perfect. Thank you for being my guest today. And now I think we need to do another one, because I want to continue this conversation.
whenever you want, even off mic. And if I can help you by any way, do not hesitate.
Thanks.
I'm
so
here
much.
to build bridges, to help the community, to build the ecosystem. Great. It was a really enjoyable.